this reptile room is an absolute mess. So I'm going to get stuck in, start doing some cleaning, and I'm going to bring you guys along for a little bit of a visit and a little bit of an update while we're here. So it's a little bit of a spur in the moment type video, and at the moment I'm actually cleaning out some of these green tree pythons. These guys are doing super well. Banana here, this little one's been cleaned. They had a feed yesterday, so I've just been marking down when they've had their feeds and changing their paper towels. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to put them across into their next enclosures just as of yet, just because I'm worried about the humidity in the lounge room not being probably high enough. One of these little guys, I can't remember which one it is, actually seems like it's got a little bit of a rough shed happening. There's a little bit of a poop down there. Let's see if I can set you guys down. On the gimbal. Sweet. That'll probably do the trick. So, yeah, one of these little guys looks like it's a little bit rough. Not horrible, but, you know, could be better essentially. So anyway, I'm just getting stuck in, getting paper towels out, getting fresh ones in. Nothing crazy, but this is just one of those at least weekly things that I need to do with these little guys, just because they do get fed a little bit more than pretty much all the other snakes at the moment. That's okay. I'm looking forward to getting these guys out of their little temporary enclosures here, the little tubs. But for now, they're feeding well, they're doing what they need to do, and yeah, it's doing them pretty good. So that's why I've kept them the way they are. I do have the tanks essentially there ready to go as far as the new tanks go. I just need to get some more supplies for the tanks. Like I want all new vines, new branches, that sort of stuff. I know I've got a stack of leaf litter already. Here we go. This is the one that's looking a little bit dehydrated. I can't tell if he's oh yeah, see he's mid shed and he's getting a little bit of a wrinkle and stuff happening to him. So anyway, we're going to make this guy super wet just to try to help this shed off. Yeah, it's still a little bit moist in here, but anyway, these things happen. It's probably my fault for being a little bit lax to not hydrating rodents, but you shouldn't really have to do that in my opinion. These guys should be a little bit hardier than that, but that's okay. We live and we learn. So if I make this a little bit more wet, you should be able to slide that skin off pretty easily. And sometimes they do look pretty rubbish when they come in for a shed as well, so keep that in mind. I'll wet this paper towel down quite a bit. Water bowl's nice and full. I'll give you a little light spray, nothing too crazy. That might make him a little bit happier as well. Alright, so they've had a feed. We're on to the last one, we're on to lemon. And then after this, I've got to sand sieve my Gillens. And I want to sand sieve my hopping mice, but my hopping mice have been really painful to sand sieve because their little tiny poops get through my Reptile 1 sand sieve. So I've actually brought a new fishnet home that I'm kind of planning to use for their sand of all things. And then hopefully, without that being too painful, it should hopefully be okay to get some of their tiny nuggets out of their tank. So anyway, let's crack on. Let's get into that and stop playing with these little beautiful snakes. Hello, mate. Done. So I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but I've actually got some babies in here at the moment with my hopping mice, and that's why this tank, I've just kind of let it really go at the moment, and that's why it's pretty filthy, and you could probably make it out on camera, but there is a whole bunch of little poos all over the place. I'm feeding these guys super heavy to make sure that they've got enough nutrition there to actually support the babies, but I haven't been disturbing the tank much, just because quite often when the babies are quite small, and if I'm in there too much, sometimes the mums get spooked and they seem to eat their babies. So when I do get little litters out from these guys, I tend to just leave them be and let them do their own thing, kick the dirt around the way they want to and all that sort of gear. But that's why I tend to leave them alone, and the tank does look pretty crappy in my opinion. I'm not real happy with it, and that's why I want to get in and actually clean it up. But my biggest problem is the fact that my sand sieve doesn't actually pick up the poo as easily as I'd like it to. So I've actually brought home a new fish net. These don't cost me much, obviously working at the shop. They're only usually a few bucks anyway. So I decided to bring this home just to see if I could actually get a finer kind of clean on these tanks, just to be able to not have to replace the sand as frequently, but just make sure that I am actually pulling out all of the fecal matter. So this is probably going to be a pretty tedious process actually cleaning this out, but at the same time, I think it's going to be well worthwhile. And it is going to be a little bit dusty, so that's why I want to hook into it now. I'm going to chuck my mask on because that's the smart thing to do. And then I'm going to give these guys a good clean and hopefully they appreciate it. Just missed it, but there's a little baby that was just crawling around. Just there. So mum's over in the corner feeding the rest of them, and this little one's just wandering around. I don't want to actually touch it because sometimes they get a bit funny about if you touch them, they might end up hurting them. But as you can see, the soil, or the sand rather, is absolutely full of seed. It's full of little poops and things. And sifting this out using the fish net is actually making it pretty clean. You can see all these seed husks and bits of hay and things like that in there. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. But, you know, for a couple of dollars, that worked out quite well. Where's your mum? I think she's over the other side there. I want you to find mum. Are you mum? Okay. Give you a quick little helping hand. There you go. Go find mum. The other way. Other way. Good mousey. Well, that fish net worked an absolute treat, and these guys are looking as clean as they are when you put fresh sand in. So that worked out really fantastic for these little guys. As you can hear, there is a couple of babies left in here at the moment, but unfortunately I did discover a bit of a grim scenario, and the mice actually helped clean out their own nest, but they were actually bringing out babies to me to clean up that were dispatched. So not 100% sure why they do it, but every now and then they just decide that they're going to knock them off. So it must be like something to do with security or something like that. But yeah, bit unfortunate. But hopefully these other couple, you know, make it up to adulthood. That'd be really nice. Yeah, they're funny little creatures, these guys. I actually really enjoy them just for the fact that they give me quite a bit of a challenge because they're something completely out of my wheelhouse, so I really enjoy that sort of fact with them. But, that took me a fair bit of time to sieve all that sand, but I'm so glad that I've done it. It does look really, really fresh now, so hopefully that'll keep these guys happy and healthy. And you can already see that they're starting to get into places to kick up the sand, which of course they love doing. That's going to be their favourite thing this afternoon. They're going to get straight into it and destroy it all essentially, but that's okay. At least it is poop free for the time being. Probably the biggest bulk of what I actually got out was not actually feces, all that stuff that you would have seen me chucking in the bin. That was actually a lot of seed husk. So these guys eat so much seed. It's kind of crazy the amount of seed that these guys go through. But I'll put a bowl of that in and that'll be gone in a couple of days' time and it'll be scattered amongst here where they'll be foraging around. But yeah, I absolutely adore these little guys and they're funny little creatures. But absolutely love them. I should also mention whenever I do any of this sifting with the fine red sand, I do actually close up the wardrobe as well just to protect the animals that are in there and also all my books and all my bits and pieces. I've done it enough to know that when the dust decides to fly around and settle, it's a lot easier just wiping down at a desk and wiping up any fronts or anything like that, or the plastics on the exoterras. I know it's a lot easier to just clean that and be done with it. Something as simple as that. Then all of my book collection and stuff, that is something that you do not want a lot of dust getting on. So I just added a little bit more red sand into these Gillen's enclosures and gave them a little bit of a sand sieve just to get out some urates and some poops and stuff like that. And the reason I put a little bit more red sand in was actually just to try to blend the colours a little bit better. I think long term I will probably have to sift out a little bit of this and swap it over. When I first put it in, it was pretty red, but after it dried right out, it did kind of pale up a little bit. But it's not too bad. It's actually better than what it was. So I've got to give it that. Something I did want to mention though, these Get Your Pet Right water bowls, these are top notch, hey. I really love being able to clean these just with a quick wipe with a paper towel and you can get them pretty much crystal clear. And I love Exoterra, I love Exoterra products, but the Exoterra water bowls are harder to clean than these. That's how smooth these things are. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sponsored. Yes, I do get some cheaper products and stuff from them. But in saying that, the Exoterra ones, they are harder to physically clean. And that's saying something because they're pretty damn easy themselves. But yeah, not bad. We're getting there. We're getting there. You can see some little chunks of granite and stuff like that that are still left through this enclosure. Decided not to do it too heavily. Oh, this tank's pretty much bioactive. Look at that. We've even got ants. So the last thing that I want to do for today as far as cleaning some critters go is I actually just want to give these Ciliaris aberrans a quick clean. There's lots of little poops and stuff like that getting around these enclosures and I've let them go a little bit too far. Check out the size of one of my hatchies from this season. There's its dad. Almost on par size-wise with its dad. But yeah, so I want to get into these guys, give them a quick spruce up as well and clean them all out. But while I am here, I'm going to give you guys a bit of an update. And as you can see, I've started doing the photo backgrounds on heaps of the enclosures as well. So I'm pretty sure this video is going to come out before the one where I've actually finished all the backgrounds in this rack. But yeah, I've started adding these guys into these enclosures as well, and you can see that the Fimbria enclosure is a little bit different now, and the colours are a little bit mixed matched on those rocks. And funnily enough, for whatever reason, the camera doesn't pick it up, but these colours pretty much match but you can only see it in person. For whatever reason, the camera decides to make that look way redder than it is, but in real life it is a bit more of a yellowy kind of colour like the actual fake rocks in these enclosures. So yeah, I've managed to finish that one. I've done this little enclosure too, so this is for some future residents that I'm yet to get. I've done Oakley's little enclosure here as well. So you can see he's got this awesome sandstone type escarpment-y type background in there. And I've also done this little one for some beaded geckos with a similar sort of background as to what's in the Spinifex hopping mice. As you can see, you've got heaps of Spinifex there, and there's actually heaps of tubes that are underneath all of this sand as well, just to kind of hide things away. And that's where those guys like to hang out during the day. Even these aberrants down here, these guys got one little panel just to kind of make sure that everybody kind of blends in a little bit. And they got this awesome photo from a ridge line in the territory down near Alice Springs. And yeah, that just seems to suit them pretty well. And then of course these aberrants, they're not getting anything because that's my OG enclosure. That's the one that kind of kicked off making all the backgrounds. So I'm just going to leave that one as is. Have a go at the size difference on these aberrants. So this is one of the original ones from this season that came out, and this is one of the last ones that came out for the season. So to give you a bit of a size comparison, 1 finger, 2 finger, little tiny tacker, hey? So cute. I love the bloody eyes in these things, they're so good. So good. So these enclosures are looking a lot cleaner than what they were. I haven't done the glasses of yet, so we might get stuck in and get a little bit of that done, and we might try to wrap all of this up. The room is looking very nice and clean, a lot better than what it was. There's a few other little bits and pieces I have to hit, of course, but that's alright. We'll get to it in short due course, no doubt. These enclosures are looking a lot better than what they were. So a lot nicer, a lot cleaner, happy residents. That's the main thing. That's what we are aiming for here. I do need to clean these top enclosures, but that's okay. They're going to be cleaned out soon because they're going to be getting their backgrounds put on. And I have sent away for a quote for the backgrounds to be done for Billy and the Gillens down here, and I've already started collecting branches and things for these guys. I want to do floor to ceiling branches for Billy, none of these sort of like shorter things, so I want to really improve his setup in particular. And yeah, gave these guys a little bit of a glass clean as well, so they're pretty spruced up. They're looking good, but happy days. Well, there you have it, guys. Just a very simple video of just about cleaning and some day-to-day maintenance in these enclosures. I had a bit of an early afternoon, so I had a couple of hours to kind of spare to be able to clean these guys up, and I'm very grateful that I did. The little mice in particular are loving bouncing around their enclosure. That's looking very nice and fresh in there, so I'm very stoked to have that back in good working order. So guys, without any further ado, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing to the channel if you do, and make sure to drop a like down below, drop a comment. If you want to see something in particular, make sure to drop a comment down below. Happy to work around things that I know about. And guys, don't forget to go and check me out over on Patreon if you want early access to videos as well as some Patreon-only access videos. And yeah, go and check out Teespring as well if you want some merch. Alrighty guys, until the next video, take it easy.